You're listening to Combat Radio with Ethan Dettenmaier, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Guest. We've had the privilege just recently where we partnered up with Mattel to work with somebody who was really not only an epic entertainer, but a very, very, I would say a very gracious individual and a complete class act, a special guy. And I'll give you a little hint as to who he is. Here you go.
In 1972, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from a maximum security stockade to the Los Angeles Underground. Today, still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team.
If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, you can hire this epic actor, Dwight Schultz, who made a, history on that show among many other projects. How are you, Dwight?
I'm doing good. But I can't hear anything in my headsets.
Let me fix that for you. Actually, hold on. We'll do a minor headset adjustment.
But
Here we go. Now, how does this sound? Better?
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. That's entertainment.
That is entertainment. So the man who actually brought some Shakespearean credibility to the A-Team is his role as Murdoch, but also worked opposite Paul Newman in one of my favorite roles you've ever done.
Well, that's very kind of you. That was an extraordinary experience.
Is it tough being so epic, Dwight? Is it tough being so awesome?
Well, Hollywood, it's always my whole life has been about not believing where I was at any moment, whether I was up or whether I was down.
Yeah.
And I remember the first day of the A-Team, not knowing where it was going to go, but if it was successful, I said to myself, I'm going to remember that there's going to be a last day.
Yeah.
And indeed that did come. But it helps you to be realistic. And, working in the theater for 15 years prior to anything in Hollywood also helps, I think, grounds you.
Yeah.
It was a joy.
It's amazing because when we were working together with Mattel at Comic-Con, the fans really embraced you. They had a full replica van there, which part of the reason I can't understand why our federal government wasn't able to find you guys. But they had this great van. But what was really cool, let me just take you through a moment. The signing was done, and it was packed. When they wrapped up the signing, a fan came up to the end of the line and said, "Is it done?" And me being in radio, I said, I'm pretty sure they'll probably, knowing these guys, will sign something for you. And the marketing people were like, no, we're done. And he looked like he was ready to cry. Michael McMaster will testify to the story of the R2-D2 Builders Club, who was shooting the photos for Mattel with us. And he goes, I've had this since I was a little kid, and it was a 1981, not coloring book, but something like that. And I just said, give that to me. Kind of seeing you operate, you were so gracious, I thought, you know what, give this to me. I will ask him or I'll figure out. And I went right back there and I said, Dwight, would you mind? And you were just like, oh, sure. And you were flipping through it at one time going, it was like you could tell his memory lane for you.
Well, the fans, what are people in show business if there is no audience?
Exactly.
We are a collaborative group. We're not, somebody who writes a novel, that's a different thing altogether, and I understand why they don't want to sign autographs or sign their books. But then they do want to sign their books to make money, extra money.
Yeah.
But the fans are everything. There is nothing without them, and you love them. All the stories, after having done Star Trek, all the stories that I heard about the fans at Star Trek conventions, it was you had this sense, well, you don't want to go to one of those. They may ask for a slice of fat to put in a bottle, a liposuction test.
Right.
But I ran into Patrick Stewart. He said, "I would like to must go, dear. You must go. It's pure love."
That's a good Patrick Stewart.
He said it's pure love, dear. And it was. And I have never met, at all the conventions that I've been to, I've never met an intentionally ugly fan. I have not.
That's very true. I've done 2 Star Treks myself, and I still get letters from people asking me to sign they all have their little journals full of the different characters.
They're astonishing.
Quite amazing. They're really amazing people, and they know everything.
They know more than I do.
Everything about any episode ever made.
One of the coolest things was where I was hanging back after the procession started and the fans lined up is how well they knew your work. Like some people were saying, no, he's the guy from Family Guy. And he goes, no, he's from Final Fantasy. And I'm like, really? I just remember him being opposite Newman when he played Oppenheimer, which is kind of one of those Hall of Fame parts. And I'm thinking that's what I know him. Like he was in this epic movie about dropping the bomb.
But do you know how I got that role?
No, how?
Listen, this is the irony of show business, right? I'm at the Williamstown Theater Festival, and I'm in Les Liaisons Dangereuses playing the.
Were you Valmont?
Yes.
Oh, I played.
Right. Well, it was the American premiere. Mm-hmm. Roland Joffe sent out to casting directors a note. He wanted to see all of the American actors who had played Valmont. I was the only one.
Nice.
And I went in and met Roland Joffe, and the script did not have his name on it. And I said to him, and this is the truth, I said, well, I've read the script. I said, I don't think the author knows what he's saying. I knew a great deal about Oppenheimer because I'm a mathematical idiot, and people who are brilliant always interested me. Plus, he was a communist. Nobody would admit it, but that also interested me.
Who cares if he's a communist?
That's
if
right.
He can kill a couple
he was
100,000
a good commie.
people. Yeah.
He was a good commie.
We're going to drop a bomb. We need commies.
So I said to Roland, I said the author doesn't know what he wants to say. It was generically American, which never changed, and Oppenheimer was an extraordinary European. I mean, he spoke 5 languages, was educated abroad, tried to strangle his best friend at the age of 18, was put into an asylum.
But that's all of us, right?
But he humiliated people who were not on his intellectual level. He wasn't a guy who went, yeah, okay, He just wasn't. And
right.
This was, I could see what Roland Joffe wanted to do, not knowing he was the author, and I'm criticizing his script, right?
Oh dear.
Yeah, but anyway, and I'm not a very good. I don't audition well.
Most people don't.
He did not have me audition. Paramount did, but he had me do thought experiments. He had me lie down, and he would weave a scenario, and I would respond to his scenarios.
I love that. Directors don't do that anymore.
They
have
amazing.
You put on tape, and they don't even meet you.
They're not even there.
Yeah,
it all
it's
changed.
Horrible.
You used to work with the director. You used to go in and meet them and talk to them.
And they wanted to see who you were,
That's right.
not so
That's
much what you would do on tape.
Dwight, when you're in the mix on this, at what point did you realize Paul Newman was involved?
Oh, he had seen my work. See, he saw me in the Homecoming at the Williamstown Theater Festival, so he was also pushing for me.
Yeah.
So this was a good fortune, being at the right place at the right time, having the right person see you, not knowing that he was involved in it, but he was saying, "Oh, I've seen this actor, and yes, use him."
When you met him, did you realize, hey, wait a minute, I'm with Butch Cassidy, or I'm with I'm The Verdict, or was he very disarming? Or?
He was just terrific.
Yeah.
He was terrific. A huge lib. I'm a huge conservative.
Yeah.
We were very, very good friends. He only sandbagged me once at dinner, and it was just the two of us. But we always ended up friends. And he was always listened to you. When he wanted a response, it wasn't just to get a response and then to cut you off. He actually wanted to hear what you had to say.
A rarity in this town.
Yes.
Interestingly enough, we had Oscar-nominated production designer Joe Alves in here a couple weeks back, who had done Jaws and Escape from New York, and he was talking about how he had worked with Hitchcock on Torn Curtain with Newman, and he said that Newman came up to him one day and goes, "Hey, I hear you're into racing. Do you have a place that we can go?" And he goes, "Well, I have this place, Willow Springs." And they went out there, raced. Newman, full throttle, no act, no entourage, no publicity stunt, spun out of control, and the first thing through both of their minds, I guess simultaneously, was, "I'm going to get fired." If Hitchcock finds out about Newman said, "I'm going to get fired," and Alves saw it and goes, "I'm going to get fired." But I mean, it kind of defined what he was like as kind of like. Would you agree with that assessment that he kind of would go out and he was really about live?
Oh, he was a very personable, terrific guy. Not at all show business like, and some are. Some won't even shake your hand, actually.
Yeah.
I've met a few major stars, and it shocked the hell out of me.
Now, because you're a conservative and he was a major liberal, did you ever support the Newman Zones, pasta sauce and stuff, or do you say, screw that leftist?
No. I mean, I don't support anything. I support what I support, but I don't make.
That's a gotcha question.
That's right, and I'm not going to say anything. Look. I don't eat Ben and Jerry's ice cream.
Oh, you fascist.
All right.
I'm kidding.
You're listening to Combat Radio with Ethan Dettenmaier, right here on LA Talk Radio.